Public disclaimer, this footage is from the Pioneer game server, and all features seen here are subject to changes, at the reasonable discretion of the game developers. AO Young Warriors. I'm the Apache, and welcome to the Apache Chronicles. The all-out war event is upon us. And in this fourth video of the sneak peek of the new event, I bring an insight about a very important quest for you faction, gathering resources. While you hold on tight for the new event to begin, I invite you to watch this detailed video to help your faction to organize itself. When we talk about faction planning, one aspect we need to pay extreme attention is to the faction resources. Most of the core actions you take in the event, faction-wise, demand resources. Therefore, be sure to organize and guide your faction towards this quest. You don't want to be handicapped of resources. In total, there are 4 types of resources: wheat, brass, silver, and obsidian. Wheat can be found near your faction quarters, therefore it's the easiest resource to have access to in the beginning of the event. Regarding the other 3 types of resources, brass, silver and obsidian, those can only be found near industrial cities, which are located in different places of the map, further from your faction base. You should also pay attention that there are 3 types of industrial cities: small, medium and a large type. Basically, their sizes determine how fast you'll gather those resources. For you to be able to gather in these industrial cities, you will need to build a pathway through villages that separates them from your faction base, until it is possible to occupy them after defeating the NPC troops. Once you do that, those industrial cities will become part of your faction's territory, a bit similar to Glorious Battle. Once these cities become part of your territory, you can quickly find a list of the resources node's location, per industrial city, at the City Info button, located on the right downside control panel. The next step. To gather, you'll need a resources wagon that you can request to one of your faction leaders in the faction garage, at the armory. Be careful, because your individual garage is very limited, so be sure to request vehicles according to your role within the faction, to avoid destroying vehicles and wasting faction resources. Once you apply for a vehicle, you can check if a faction leader has approved your request at the View Record section, which all the approvals or rejections should appear. Once the approval is granted, the vehicle will appear in your individual garage. Well, now that my faction has control over an industrial city, and I already have a resource wagon, I'll deploy a logistic march from the barracks for gathering. Pay attention that I select the resource wagon at the Vehicles tab and select the Convert to Logistic option. You'll also see that the size of your vehicle allows you to gather resources faster. Several hours later after deploying my march, I returned to the game in order to see how much resources I gathered. This is a good way to optimize the time you are offline. I'm just not sure if an enemy can attack you in a gathering node. So be careful where you'll deploy your gathering march. To deliver resources, you can do that in any warehouse of an occupied city by your faction, as you can see. When near the warehouse, you select the Adjust Supplies options in the down right side panel and empty the resources bar that your march is carrying. Once you recall your troops, and go into the City Info section, you'll see that those resources will be in the city you delivered. Here we have another issue faction leaders should pay attention: either centralize resources in the same place or ensure the supply in all cities of their own resources, so there isn't a scarcity of a given resource. Otherwise, this may slow down your faction progress. Well kiddos, that's it for today. Stay tuned for the next videos. If you like this one, I invite you to comment, like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and a great Apache hug.
You don't have to come and confess, we're looking for you, we gon'